The old clock on the wall showed 6 in the morning when He-jin unlocked the door to his cafe. Autumn lights. The morning air was cool and crisp, carrying the sweet smell of fallen leaves. Orange and red leaves danced in the gentle wind along Copenhagen's famous Neam Canal. He-jin smiled as he switched on the warm lights inside his cafe. The wooden floors creaked softly under his feet as he walked to the kitchen. He had owned this cafe for 5 years now, and every autumn morning felt special to him. The cafe was small but cozy. Old wooden beams ran across the ceiling, and the walls were painted a soft cream color. Large windows looked out over the canal, where colorful old houses stood in a neat row. Their bright facades reflected in the calm water, making the scene look like a painting. As He-jin prepared for the day, he followed his usual routine. First, he turned on the big coffee machine, which came to life with a gentle hum. Then he started baking fresh pastries. The smell of butter and cinnamon soon filled the air. Another beautiful morning, he said to himself, looking out at the boats gently moving in the canal. The rising sun painted the sky in shades of pink and gold. At exactly 7:30, the little bell above the door chimed. Mira walked in, right on time as always. She was a regular customer who came every morning before heading to her job at the nearby quantum physics laboratory. "Good morning, He-jin," Mira said, taking off her red scarf. She sat at her usual spot by the window. Her short black hair was slightly messy from the autumn wind. "Good morning, Mira." "The usual?" He-jin asked, already reaching for her favorite cup. "Yes, please, and maybe one of those cinnamon rolls too. They smell wonderful." He-jin prepared her coffee with care. 1 shot of espresso, steamed milk, and just a touch of vanilla syrup. As he worked, he noticed something strange through the window. The morning sky seemed different today. The clouds moved in unusual patterns, and there was a faint shimmer in the air, like the northern lights but much fainter. Mira must have noticed it too. She kept looking up from her notebook, where she usually wrote complex equations. Her face showed a mix of curiosity and concern. "Have you ever seen anything like that?" He-jin asked, placing her coffee and a warm cinnamon roll on the table. "Never," Mira replied, taking out her phone to check something. "The lab's atmospheric sensors have been picking up strange readings lately, but nothing visible until now." More customers began arriving as the morning went on. The cafe filled with the sound of quiet conversations and clinking cups, but He-jin kept glancing at the sky between serving customers. The strange shimmer was getting stronger. Day, the old baker who had taught He-jin everything he knew about Danish pastries, came in through the back door. He carried fresh flowers for the tables, as he did every morning. The flowers were deep orange and red chrysanthemums, perfect for autumn. "Something feels different today," Daz said as he arranged the flowers. His eyes, wrinkled from years of smiling, looked thoughtful. "The air feels like it does before a big change." He-jin nodded. He felt it too. Despite the cozy atmosphere inside the cafe, there was a sense that something unusual was about to happen. But for now, he focused on what he did best, creating a warm and welcoming space for his customers. The morning continued, filled with the scent of coffee and freshly baked goods, the sound of gentle conversations, and the sight of autumn leaves falling outside. But the strange shimmer in the sky remained, like a quiet promise of something new and unexpected to come. Little did He-jin know that his small, cozy cafe on Nehan was about to become the center of something much bigger than anyone could imagine. Mira sat in her laboratory later that afternoon, staring at her computer screen with growing concern. The numbers didn't make sense. For the past week, her quantum sensors had been detecting patterns that shouldn't exist in nature. The laboratory was quiet except for the soft humming of machines. Large windows showed the autumn trees outside, their leaves now glowing golden in the afternoon sun. But Mira barely noticed the beautiful view. Her attention was fixed on the strange readings before her. "This can't be right," she said softly, adjusting her glasses. The energy patterns looked like ripples in a pond, but they were appearing in the quantum field that surrounded Copenhagen. She had never seen anything like it in her 15 years of research. Her phone buzzed. It was a message from Jai-ho, her friend from the weather station. "Are you seeing this?" he wrote. "The weather satellites are picking up unusual patterns. Can we meet?" Mira replied quickly, suggesting they meet at Hei-jin's cafe. It was the perfect place to talk. Quiet enough for serious discussion, but comfortable enough to help them think clearly. 20 minutes later, Mira and Jai-ho sat at a corner table in autumn lights. Hei-jin brought them both hot chocolate with extra whipped cream. He could tell from their serious faces that something was wrong. "Look at this," Jai-ho said, opening his laptop. On the screen, weather maps showed swirling patterns over Copenhagen that looked like autumn leaves dancing in the wind. But these patterns weren't natural. They moved with too much purpose, too much precision. "The patterns match my quantum readings exactly," Mira said, spreading her own papers on the table. "It's as if something is trying to create a specific frequency in both the quantum field and the atmosphere." Hei-jin listened as he wiped nearby tables. He didn't understand the scientific terms, but he understood enough to know this was important. The strange shimmer in the morning sky had grown stronger throughout the day. Suddenly, all their phones beeped at once. The National Weather Service had issued an unusual alert. "Unexplained atmospheric phenomena observed over Copenhagen. No cause for alarm. Scientists investigating." "No cause for alarm," Jai-ho said, looking worried. "These patterns are growing stronger every hour. Look at the energy readings." Mira nodded, pointing to her charts. "The energy signature is unlike anything on Earth. It's not random, and it's not natural. It's more like a message." Outside, the autumn wind grew stronger. Leaves swirled in perfect circles, defying the natural flow of air. The shimmer in the sky had taken on a subtle pattern, like words written in light, just too faint to read. Hei-jin brought more hot chocolate without being asked. Sometimes comfort was the best response to uncertainty. As he set down the cups, he noticed that the lights in his cafe were flickering slightly, matching the rhythm of the patterns Jai-ho and Mira were studying. "The whole city is experiencing power fluctuations," Jai-ho said, checking his phone. "But only in this neighborhood, centered right here around Neam." Mira looked up at Hei-jin. "Your cafe seems to be at the exact center of all these patterns. Every measurement, we have points right here." The old clock on the wall struck 5. Its chimes sounding different somehow, as if they were being carried by more than just sound waves. The few remaining customers in the cafe hadn't noticed anything unusual yet, but there was a feeling in the air, like the moment before a summer storm breaks. "Whatever this is," Mira said quietly, "I think we're about to find out. The patterns are all converging, and they're converging right here." Hei-jin looked around his beloved cafe, wondering what tomorrow would bring. The cozy space he had created, with its warm lights and comfortable chairs, was about to become something more than just a neighborhood coffee shop. Something was coming, and for some reason, it had chosen this small corner of Copenhagen as its destination. The next morning started like any other at Autumn Lights Cafe. Hei-jin arrived early to bake fresh pastries, and the autumn wind carried fallen leaves past his windows. But today, the strange lights in the sky were clearer than ever. At exactly 8 o'clock, when the cafe was quiet except for the soft music playing in the background, the bell above the door chimed. 3 tall figures walked in. They looked human at first glance, but something about them was different. Their movements were too smooth, and their clothes seemed to shift colors like oil on water. Hei-jin stood behind the counter, his heart beating fast, but his face calm. Years of serving customers had taught him to stay polite no matter what. "Welcome to Autumn Lights," he said. "What can I get for you?" The tallest figure stepped forward. Its face was pleasant but hard to remember, like trying to recall a dream. "We have traveled far," it said in perfect Danish, though the voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. We followed the signals of comfort and connection to this place. Mira, who was sitting at her usual table, stood up slowly. Her scientific instruments were beeping softly in her bag. "You're the source of the quantum patterns," she said. It wasn't a question. "Yes," the figure replied. "We are visitors from beyond your solar system. We have been studying your world, trying to understand something we have never found anywhere else." "And what is that?" He-Jin asked, his hands automatically reaching for coffee cups. Something about their presence made him want to offer them drinks, just like he would for any other customer. "Haig," the second figure said. "Coziness, the ability to create spaces of warmth and welcome. Our civilization has advanced technology beyond your imagination, but we have never mastered the art of comfort." The third visitor walked to the window, watching the fallen leaves dance in the wind. "Your city, especially this place, sends out waves of something we can barely understand. It draws people in, makes them feel at home." He-Jin found himself making hot chocolate with extra whipped cream and cinnamon. It seemed like the right thing to do. "Would you like to try something warm to drink?" he offered. The visitors looked at the steaming cups with great interest. The first one reached out and carefully took a cup. When it took a sip, the air in the cafe seemed to shimmer with surprise and delight. "This sensation," it said, "this warmth that starts in the body but spreads to the spirit. We have nothing like this in our world." Other customers began arriving, stopping in surprise at the doorway. But something about the cafe's peaceful atmosphere kept anyone from panicking. They simply found their usual seats, watching with curiosity as the three visitors experienced their first taste of Earth's comfort. Mira took out her notebook, writing quickly as she asked questions about their world and their journey. The visitors explained that they had been traveling through space for centuries, searching for something their advanced civilization had lost: the ability to feel truly at home. "We can build worlds," the second visitor said, holding its cup carefully. "We can travel between stars, but we cannot create this feeling that fills this small space." He-Jin started serving freshly baked cinnamon rolls, the sweet smell mixing with the coffee aroma. The visitors watched in fascination as regular customers chatted, worked on laptops, or simply sat quietly enjoying their drinks. "This is what drew us here," the third visitor said. "Not your technology or your resources. This ability to create peace in small moments, to make spaces where beings can feel safe and content." As the morning went on, more people came to see the visitors. But instead of chaos or fear, the cafe remained calm. The aliens sat at a corner table, trying different drinks and pastries, watching and learning how humans turn simple things like coffee and conversation into moments of connection. He-Jin realized that his cafe had become more than just a meeting point between humans and aliens. It had become proof that sometimes the most powerful thing a civilization can offer isn't its technology or its achievements, but its ability to make others feel welcome. A week had passed since the visitors first arrived at Autumn Lights Cafe. News of their presence had spread across Copenhagen, but He-Jin's cafe remained peaceful. The visitors, who asked to be called the Lights, had learned much about human comfort during their daily visits. This morning, He-Jin was teaching one of the Lights, who chose the name Sol, how to bake cinnamon rolls. The tall figure stood in the kitchen, copying He-Jin's movements with careful precision. "The secret is not in the exact measurements," He-Jin explained, showing Sol how to sprinkle cinnamon. "It's in how you feel while making them, the care you put into each step." Sol's form shifted slightly, showing confusion. "Our civilization builds everything with perfect measurements. But you say perfection is not the goal. Sometimes imperfection makes things more special," He-Jin said, showing a slightly uneven roll. "See how this one is different? That makes it unique." Mira sat at the counter, recording their conversation. She had learned that the Light's technology was based on pure logic and precision. The human way of doing things, mixing creativity with science, fascinated them. "Your quantum technology is quite advanced," Mira said to another Light named Ray. But you've never used it to enhance everyday experiences. We never saw the purpose, Ray replied, watching customers enjoy their morning coffee. We focused on efficiency. But here, we see how comfort makes people work better, think better, live better. The cafe had become a place where humans and lights learned from each other. The visitors shared their knowledge of advanced science, while humans taught them about the importance of small pleasures. Outside, the autumn weather had grown colder. He-Jin had placed warm blankets on every chair, and the windows showed a view of falling leaves and gray skies. The lights found this contrast fascinating, how humans made indoor spaces feel warmer and more inviting when the weather turned cold. We have discovered something important, Saul announced, carefully placing a tray of finished cinnamon rolls in the oven. Comfort is not just a feeling. It is a technology of its own. He-Jin smiled as he prepared coffee for a group of regular customers. Some were now having friendly conversations with the lights, sharing stories and experiences. The strangeness of talking to alien beings had faded, replaced by genuine connection. Mira brought out her latest research results. Working with the lights, she had found ways to combine their quantum technology with human ideas about comfort. Together, they had created a system that could measure and enhance feelings of well-being in a space. "Look at these readings," she said, showing He-Jin and Saul her tablet. "The cafe naturally creates patterns of comfort that affect everyone who visits. We can now see it scientifically." Saul's form brightened with understanding. "This is why we were drawn here. Your cafe doesn't just serve food and drinks. It serves something we had forgotten existed, the feeling of belonging." As the day went on, more people came to the cafe. Some were scientists eager to learn from the lights, others were simply curious. But everyone who visited found themselves drawn into the peaceful atmosphere that now bridged two very different civilizations. He-Jin watched as Saul successfully removed the perfectly baked cinnamon rolls from the oven. The light had learned to make them with slight variations, understanding at last that these small differences made them special. "Tomorrow," Saul said, "we would like to share something from our world. Perhaps we can find a way to combine your comfort with our technology. Would that be acceptable?" He-Jin nodded, already wondering what new changes tomorrow would bring to his small cafe on Nav. The blending of two civilizations was happening right here, over cups of coffee and freshly baked pastries. The morning of Copenhagen's first Human Light Autumn Festival arrived with golden sunlight and crisp air. He-Jin stood at his cafe window, watching city workers set up decorations along the Ham Canal. The traditional autumn decorations of pumpkins and colored leaves, now mixed with softly glowing crystals provided by the lights. Inside Autumn Lights Cafe, Saul and He-Jin prepared special treats for the festival. They had created new recipes together, combining Earth's flavors with the light's understanding of energy and sensation. The kitchen counter held rows of pastries that seemed to shimmer slightly, each one infused with a gentle warmth that lasted for hours. "These will help people stay warm throughout the outdoor celebrations," Saul explained, adjusting the quantum frequency of a batch of special hot chocolate. The drink would maintain its perfect temperature without ever cooling down. Mira arrived early, carrying new monitoring equipment. The festival would be the first large-scale test of human light cooperation. She had worked with the visitors to create special areas throughout the city where their technology enhanced the natural comfort of Copenhagen's autumn atmosphere. "All the quantum comfort nodes are active," she reported, showing He-Jin her readings. "The entire harbor district is now generating the same feeling of warmth and welcome that your cafe naturally creates." Outside, more people filled the streets as the festival began. The air felt different, warmer, more inviting, despite the cool autumn weather. Children ran past the cafe windows, playing with small floating lights that the visitors had made as gifts. The lights changed color to match the children's emotions, creating trails of happy colors behind them. He-Jin noticed how naturally humans and lights now mixed together. The visitors had learned to adjust their appearances to seem less startling while still maintaining their unique nature. They'd walked among the crowds, sharing stories about their world and learning about Earth's traditions. At noon, the official ceremony began. The mayor of Copenhagen stood in front of Hagen's cafe, which had become known as the first contact point. She spoke about how a simple place of comfort had brought two civilizations together. Sol stood beside her, its form glowing softly in the autumn sunlight. "Today marks the beginning of a new tradition," the mayor announced. "Each autumn, we will celebrate not only the changing of seasons, but also the change that comes from understanding each other." The lights had prepared their own contribution to the festival. As the mayor finished speaking, the air above the canal filled with dancing lights that moved like autumn leaves. The lights formed pictures that told stories from both worlds, showing how different yet similar the two civilizations were. Inside the cafe, Hujin served his special festival menu. Humans and lights sat together at tables, sharing drinks that glowed softly and pastries that brought warmth to both body and spirit. The visitors had learned to enjoy not just the taste of Earth food, but the entire experience of sharing a meal with others. Mira sat with a group of light scientists, discussing plans for the future. They had discovered that the combination of human comfort and light technology could solve problems neither civilization had managed alone. The cafe had become more than a meeting place. It was now a center for innovation. As evening approached, the festival lights grew brighter, reflecting on the canal's dark water. Hajin watched from behind his counter as Seoul demonstrated their world's music to a fascinated crowd. The sounds were unlike anything on Earth, yet they blended perfectly with the sound of autumn winds and happy conversations. The first Human Light Autumn Festival would be remembered not for its grand displays or scientific achievements, but for the simple moments of connection it created. In Hajin's cafe and throughout Copenhagen, two very different peoples had found a way to share the simple pleasure of a cozy autumn day. The trouble began on a cold morning in late autumn. Hajin noticed something was wrong when he opened his cafe. The warm glow from the light's comfort technology was flickering, and the air felt unusually cold despite the heating being on full. Myra rushed into the cafe earlier than usual, her face showing worry. "The quantum comfort nodes are malfunctioning," she said, setting up her equipment on a table. "Something is interfering with their energy patterns." Sol arrived moments later, its form less stable than usual. "We have detected a problem," the light said. "Some of our people believe we are becoming too attached to Earth's way of life. They want to stop our sharing of technology." Hajin served hot chocolate to them all, knowing that difficult conversations were better with something warm to drink. Outside, the autumn wind had grown bitter, and the streets of Copenhagen seemed darker than usual. "A group of lights has tampered with our systems," Sol explained. "They think we are losing our identity by learning human ways. They have modified the comfort technology to stop working properly." The cafe's regular customers began arriving, shivering more than usual. Hajin turned up the traditional heating system, but it wasn't the same. People had grown used to the gentle warmth that the light's technology provided. Mira studied her readings with growing concern. "The interference is spreading," she said. "If we don't fix this soon, all the quantum comfort nodes in the city will shut down. In this cold weather, that could be dangerous." Sol's form dimmed slightly. "The problem is more serious than just comfort. The modified technology could create unstable energy patterns throughout the city. It could affect power systems, communications, everything we have helped build here." Hajin looked around his cafe. The place that had brought humans and lights together was now at the center of a crisis. But as he watched his customers, both human and light, sitting together and talking despite the cold, he had an idea. "Sol," he said, "you told me that your people were drawn here by the natural comfort this place creates, even before your technology. Could we use that somehow?" Myra's eyes lit up with understanding. "The cafe's natural comfort patterns. We could use them as a template to reset the quantum nodes. But we would need help from both humans and lights working together." Sol began to glow brighter. "Yes, but it would be dangerous. We would need to channel both human comfort and light technology at levels we have never tried before." As they talked, more lights arrived at the cafe, including some who opposed the sharing of technology. They had come to see what humans would do in this crisis. What they saw surprised them. Instead of panic or anger, they found humans and friendly lights working together. Jin kept serving warm drinks and food, maintaining the cafe's peaceful atmosphere despite the crisis. Mira worked with light scientists, finding ways to combine their knowledge. "Watch," Saul said to the opposing lights. "See how they face problems, not with perfect efficiency, but with care for each other. This is what we have been learning." The opposing lights observed as humans shared blankets, moved closer together for warmth, and continued their friendly conversations despite the cold. They saw how the cafe remained a place of welcome even in difficult times. As evening approached, Heijin's cafe became the center of their efforts to solve the crisis. Scientists and lights gathered around tables covered with both advanced quantum displays and simple cups of coffee, working together to find a solution that would preserve the best of both worlds. The solution came as the first snow of winter began to fall outside Autumn Lights Cafe. Mira had been working through the night with both friendly and opposing lights, studying the patterns of comfort that naturally occurred in Heijin's cafe. What they discovered changed everything. The cafe's comfort isn't just about temperature or technology, Mira explained, showing her findings to everyone gathered around the largest table. It's about the memories and feelings people create here. These emotions generate their own energy patterns. Heijin continued serving warm drinks as he listened. Even now, with the quantum comfort nodes malfunctioning across the city, his cafe maintained its natural warmth. The opposing lights noticed this too, their forms shifting with growing understanding. "Our technology amplifies what already exists," Saul said, studying Myra's data. "We thought we were creating comfort, but we were only enhancing what humans naturally build in places like this." The leader of the opposing lights, who called themselves Ray, moved forward. "We feared losing our identity by learning human ways," they said. "But perhaps we lost something more important long ago. The ability to create spaces that nurture connection." Mira stood up, excitement showing on her tired face. "If we combine the cafe's natural comfort patterns with your quantum technology, we can create something entirely new, something that belongs to both our peoples." Working together, humans and lights began the delicate process of repairing the damaged comfort nodes. Heijin's cafe served as the center of operations, its natural warmth providing the template for the restored system. The opposing lights, seeing how their technology could enhance rather than replace natural human comfort, joined the effort. They shared their deep knowledge of quantum systems, helping to create safeguards that would prevent future interference. As they worked, the cafe filled with a new kind of warmth. It wasn't just the physical heat from drinks and ovens, or the quantum comfort from light technology. It was something in between, something that carried the best of both worlds. "Watch," Saul said to Ray, pointing to a group of humans and lights sharing coffee and ideas at a corner table. "See how the comfort creates trust, and trust leads to understanding." Outside, the quantum comfort nodes across Copenhagen began coming back online. But they worked differently now. Instead of imposing artificial warmth, they enhanced the natural comfort that existed in each location. Parks, libraries, other cafes. Each place maintained its unique feeling while being gently supported by light technology. Mira's instruments showed fascinating results. The new combined system was more stable and efficient than before. "It's like the technology works better when it works with nature rather than trying to replace it," she explained. Heijin looked around his cafe with pride. The place that had first drawn the lights to Earth had now helped both civilizations grow. Humans had gained amazing new technology, while the lights had rediscovered something their advanced civilization had forgotten. As evening approached, snow continued falling outside, but nobody felt the cold. The cafe glowed with warmth that was both natural and enhanced, creating a perfect balance. Humans and lights sat together, sharing stories and planning for a future that would be warmer and brighter because of their cooperation. Perhaps, Ray said, accepting a cup of hot chocolate from Heijin. The greatest technology is not the one that changes everything, but the one that helps us appreciate what we already have. 1 year had passed since the first lights arrived at Autumn Lights Cafe. Copenhagen had changed in wonderful ways, becoming Earth's premier example of human and light cooperation. Heijin's cafe remained at the heart of it all, now famous across 2 civilizations as the place where everything began. On this particular autumn morning, Heijin stood in his kitchen, teaching a group of young lights and human students. The cafe had become a school of sorts, where both species learned the art of creating comfort. The kitchen now contained both traditional cooking equipment and light technology, perfectly balanced to work together. "Remember," Heijin said, showing them how to make his special cinnamon rolls. "The technology helps, but the most important ingredient is still care." The students watched as he combined traditional baking with the light's gentle warming technology, creating pastries that brought comfort to both species. Mira had transformed her old laboratory into the Center for Comfort Studies. Through the cafe's windows, Heijin could see the new building across the canal, its walls gently glowing with the combined light of human and alien technology. Inside, scientists of both species worked to understand and improve the connection between natural comfort and advanced science. Seoul, now the official ambassador between lights and humans, sat at their usual table. The light had learned to enjoy the simple pleasure of watching autumn leaves fall while drinking coffee. "Our civilization has built a million wonders," Saul said to a group of visiting dignitaries, "but none as wonderful as learning to appreciate small moments." The cafe had grown slightly larger over the year, but Heijin had been careful to maintain its cozy feeling. New rooms had been added using light technology that somehow made the space feel bigger while keeping the intimate atmosphere. Every table still felt like a private corner where people could talk, work, or simply enjoy the peace. Regular customers mixed easily with visitors from across the stars. Business people sat next to light scientists, sharing ideas over perfectly warm drinks. Children played with small light spheres that the visitors had designed especially for Earth's young ones, teaching them about both science and joy. Day, the old baker who had taught Heijin everything about Danish pastries, now spent his days teaching light apprentices about Earth's baking traditions. "Every world has its own kind of comfort," he would say, showing them how to feel when bread was baked just right. "The trick is learning to share it." In the evening, as golden light filled the streets of Copenhagen, Heijin watched a special ceremony through his cafe windows. The city was celebrating the first graduation of human light comfort specialists. These experts would travel to other cities around the world, helping to create new spaces where both species could feel at home. Mera joined Heijin at the counter, her research tablet showing amazing new discoveries. "We found that the combination of human comfort and light technology actually helps both species evolve," she explained. "We're growing together, becoming something new while keeping the best of who we are." The cafe glowed with warmth as night fell, its lights reflecting on the canal's dark water. Inside, humans and lights shared stories, dreams, and ideas. The autumn wind still carried fallen leaves past the windows, but now they danced with tiny lights that made the scene look magical. Heijin smiled as he prepared the last drinks of the day. His small cafe had changed the universe, not through grand technological achievements, but by showing that the simplest things, a warm drink, a comfortable chair, a friendly conversation, could bridge the gap between the stars themselves. As he had learned over this extraordinary year, sometimes the most important changes start with nothing more than a cup of coffee and a cozy place to share it.